Good morning. My name is Trina Vanetta. I'm a research assistant at the MSU Potato Outreach Program. I am sharing my screen. So we're looking at the MSU Potato.medius.re dashboard. I want to go over some of the features and how I use it and what I like about it. So we'll jump right in. So as I said, we're on the dashboard. We've been using this database for about 7 years now. I've got a lot of variety records, images, and documents. And we can start out really simple just by finding a variety. So we're going to start with Mackinac. So the variety pops up, but it's actually really cool. The database also relates, these have Mackinac as a parent in them. So I can see, in my trials where I've evaluated this, so from 2015 to 2022, at all of these farms, it has a pedigree that I've uploaded, and it's actually really cool. So if I do, Mackinac, Saginaw Chipper by Lamoka, and then I have the Lamoka pedigree, it automatically associates. These are all the trials where I've seen Mackinac. We've asked to have it broken up by 4 regions within Michigan. So that helps us, something that does really well up in the Upper Peninsula may not do well in Eastern Michigan. So we look at it regionally. I can filter down and say, actually, just show me the last 3 years, and those numbers will automatically change. And then it just goes through the data that we collect each year. So number 1 in total yield, size profile, gravity, internal defects, some ratings, and then comments. So not, the best place to view comments, but I'll show you how to do just a trial view where I like to look at my notes. You can also look at images. So now we're back to all 8 years and 23 trial blocks. So I can say, just show me 2020 and just show me 4L. Oh, but actually I don't have any pictures from 4L in 2020. Let me just add a few. All right, now we got some photos popping up. So here's a photo from 2020 in Crawford Farms, and my Wi-Fi is a little slow, so this may or may not load. There we go. So there's just a close-up picture. I can download it. All right, and then documents, these are the reports that I have that mention Mackinac, and it automatically associates there. So, in 2017, the SNAC research trial mentions Mackinac in there, so I can pull that up. All right, I can also do a compare variety based on my data. So we will do Mackinac and Snowden. And then let's see, and I need to broaden my filters because I've got a bunch of trials that I haven't published yet. So this will give me some data here. So I've got my correlated data turned on. I've got a bunch of different settings up here, so I can turn that off. And see, all of the varieties or just where I have them in the same field. I'm hiding empty fields. I can, do things like change my font size, my table weight, some of that formatting kind of stuff. I can also export this as a picture. I'm going to pop this over so that I can see this table bigger. And so this is really nice, when I'm talking with a grower and it's like, well, what do you grow? What variety do you know really well? Let's compare that, to one of our advanced lines that we've had under evaluation in our program. So I've actually selected some data field groups as to not show, which, you might want to show. Let me see where I do that. See download data. Let's see. So I actually have some defaults left over from the last time that I was in here. So I'm not seeing all of my data fields. Okay, here we go. So I can, just highlight, let's say I really want to focus, on my stem end trial data. I can build a trial just with the stem end data, or if I'm focusing on, the SNAC color and then the percentage of mid-sized tubers I have, I can compare this. And then if I want to do some formatting, I can say, well, I'm a little bit concerned by the prevalence of stem end in here. Let me see if I can't get these colors to pop up and clear all markups. All right. There we go. So if I'm concerned about this number for whatever reason, but if I'm really excited about the SNAC chip color, then I can add, some colors here, send that to somebody, save that as an image. I can also look at my chip trials or my russet or table stock for that matter, but I can scroll through, I can filter. So if I just want to look at this storage trial, I can pull up my photos, which may or may not load. But then as I scroll to the right, I can, yeah, there we go. I can, pull up my dates, kind of the same data, that we're collecting for every trial, my internal defects, comments. That's an easier place to see comments there. And then this is a storage chip trial. So I do have a storage aspect. We chipped these out of storage on April 18th. They had a snack color. We did total defects, stem end defect counts, some comments. So I can see all that there. So that's in its published state. And then to upload this, I have to go to the trial view. And so this in 2022, this is a trial that I'm working on. So if I go to the spreadsheet, if you can use Excel, you can upload this data. You have the opportunity to upload it, here online. You can also download the template and then, upload your template, based off of what you've downloaded. You add the numbers and then you pull it back up and it'll automatically match up your columns. And so, same details. And something that I like about this is that it's really customizable. So I can say, Brad, I want number one yield, and then I want total yield. I only want to be able to enter those as whole numbers. And then I want my size profile breakdown as percents with 1 decimal point. So, he can make that happen. If you go over to stem end defect, I said, let me just type it in, like however many numbers, so unlimited decimal points, but it reports out with 1 decimal point. So that kind of customizing is really nice. I can email Brad and say, hey, I started doing this evaluation. So I'd like this column added to all chip trials, and I want it to report in whole numbers between 0 and 7. And he can do that. I upload pictures here. So it's just a drag and drop so I can get my tubers and chips. And then when I feel good that I've uploaded the data, I can just publish it. And then it will be visible in the, feature trial groups where we were just looking at that chip trial. I also store all of my documents here. I can associate a year with them. And if it's, russet, chip, or table stock data, I can just search, by, the most recent year. So 2022 to 23, we're just going to have our snack report. And then I can also see, my variety database here. So I have, let me just move this over here. I have, 148 pages of entries here. And so I can, keep them as, the name that they were under evaluation, or, if we call a variety -3 RUS, but, this is University of Idaho, they call it just a -3, we can store both names to avoid confusion. If a variety is named and released, we can keep it as, both varieties that it was. So Mackinac used to be MSX 540, and I've got that there. I can pull up, this is the featured image that comes up when I select Mackinac, and then information for some of our name varieties. I'll do a quick fact sheet. And so, here's just some more information about it. So if I wanted to give someone a handout, we can talk about, its fertility requirements, strengths and weaknesses there. Okay, so that is just a really quick look at the, oh, all right, that got real dark. There we go. Really quick look at our database and how we use it. Something cool is that we have sharing with Colorado State University. So I can look at, Colorado State's documents. So maybe they, haven't published it on their website, or maybe I don't want to bother the breeding team. But I can see, their reports. I can also look at their varieties and data, that they've evaluated. So, we're both public programs. So, sharing between Colorado State and us is a real benefit to look for varieties that we might want to look at in Michigan. But, if, one aspect of a company, needs a separate database system than another aspect, and having that sharing back and forth, it's a real benefit to look at what someone else is doing, but not being able to mess with their trials necessarily. And then I know I mentioned, that it's customizable, which is something that I really appreciate. If you buy Agribase, then you have to use Agribase's system, and they're not going to change their database just because you asked. But I can send Brad an email and say, I'd like these 2 columns switched around, and then a couple hours later, it's the way that I want it. So that I think is the most powerful tool there. But then also, a lot of the other public breeding programs in the US are adopting this Medius system. And so, when we're all reporting out our data in a similar way, it becomes a powerful tool to compare. We do have a data center. I don't use this as much, living over in variety development and extension kind of work. But you can make charts, you can look at, coefficient of inbreeding, you can do growing degree days versus US #1 yield. And so I know our potato breeding team uses this more, but basically it works kind of like, a standalone Excel where you can run macros, but you have access, it's already tied into the database versus, downloading a whole huge data set to then put into Excel. So real quick, that was just how we use the MSU Potato.medius.re. If you have any more questions, let me know. You will have my email address. All right, so let me stop screen sharing here and end this meeting. Thank you.